So in this video, we're going to discuss something that happens every once in a while to certain customers, where the IIS process seems to either crash, or the CPU goes into 100%, or another example would be the memory for IIS just seems to go crazy and doesn't come back down. And so this kind of steps us through some of the steps we'll use to troubleshoot this a little bit more. This can be a difficult thing to assess and figure out, but one of our best things we can do is take a look at the active diagnostics tool that's built into some of the later versions of SBM. The key with this active diagnostics thing is that you kind of have to have it all set up and running in the proper way before the issue starts, so we're capturing the correct data. So a couple things with that. First, you want to go into Configurator. So we're going to talk about setting up the active diagnostics ahead of time. So this is probably something good to just have running every day, just in case you run into one of these problems. If you find yourself having these IIS type problems repeatedly, like once a week, once a month, things like that, you might just set up active diagnostics ahead of time, just like we're going to talk about, and that way we can capture what we need. So first thing you want to do is go into the configurator, and you want to go into the configurator on the system that's running the common services component. So if you have SBM split out into a bunch of different components on different servers, you want to find the one where common services is running. Where that is running, you will be able to go down to, you'll see the diagnostics tab down here called active diagnostics. So the first thing you want to do is, after you get to the right server, go to the managed services area here and just verify that active diagnostics is in fact running. You'll see it down here, and if it's running, it'll be green. If you find that if you try to start it and it goes green for a second and then goes to red, or if it goes for green for a couple of seconds and then goes to red, take a look at this KB doc. It's kind of beyond the scope of this, but the number is S140066, and take a look for that KB doc. That discusses the common problems when active diagnostics won't start. Usually because there's a lock file that's on the file system, and if we just delete that, it'll start up. Anyway, look at that KB doc and for more information on that. So with that said, make sure the diagnostics is started, and then when you go down here to the diagnostics tab, and then switch over to the active diagnostics, you don't need to mess with any of the top part here. That's fine. The one thing, or the settings that you want to change, you want to have this log activity, and you want to have the CPU and memory counters set. Also, it's probably a good idea, by default, this active diagnostics database maxes out at 500 megabytes. That's the default. So if you want, you can extend this to, if you do 1,000 megabytes or 2,000 megabytes, that'll be 2 gig. That's pretty good size. So this database, it just rolls. So as older things fall off the back, the biggest it'll ever get in this case is going to be 2 gig, and the old stuff just rolls off the back side. So, and then the other setting you'd probably want to do is the system one. I would slide the slider up to info, and that should do it. Now the key with this is all you want to do is click this apply runtime configuration. You don't need to restart SBM. You don't need to restart anything. If you just click this apply button, that tells you, oh, it's going to empty this, and hit OK. Your configuration is saved. Okay, so now it's running with the appropriate settings. So you don't really well, you don't have to push this apply button down here at all. If you do push that, you'll get prompted to restart SBM, and you don't need to do that. So after I set that, what I usually do is go back into managed services and just verify that the active diagnostic service is still running. In this case, it's green, which is good. So now we are behind the scenes capturing all the activity and the CPU and the memory, things like that, for IIS. So what happens is next time you experience this problem, and you can just keep this running. It doesn't affect much of anything. You can just keep this running until you see this problem again. Okay, so let's just say tomorrow morning at 9 in the morning, you have a problem where IIS either hung or was, users couldn't log in. You go in and you look at Task Manager, and you take a look at your performance tab maybe, and this is CPU's pegged out or memory's going nuts, and you look at the processes, and the one you're going to look for is the one of these two, W3 WPEXE. If you see the CPU is pegged at 100%, or memory is just crazy, or these are just completely gone, maybe IIS just crashed and went away, what you want to do in that case is come into Configurator again and click the Collect Log Files button. What this is going to do is collect all the log files that we need, including the Active Diagnostics database, and save that somewhere. And what you'll want to do is create a case with support, and then we can take a look at the database that gets created. It's kind of it's not for the faint of heart. It's kind of something that we need to look at, and we have some tools that we can kind of diagnose what was going on at the time. So that's kind of our first step in trying to troubleshoot these issues where IIS goes crazy. And so when you create the support case, what you want to do is supply those log files, mention the symptoms, and also mention the time it started. So let's say 9 a.m. on January 23rd, and also put your time zone in there too. So if you're on the East Coast, say 9 East Coast time, because when we look at these logs, we just need to convert for the time zone that it happened in, and that'll help us out. So hopefully this helps get us in the right direction. Like I said, this active diagnostics thing it's fine to just have running ahead of time, and it's probably not bad to just set this on your system as right now, even before you have any problems, just in case you would have a problem going forward. So hopefully that helps, and that's all for this session.